Hello, and welcome to the Investor Guys Podcast, the ultimate podcast for serious real estate investors in the know. Join your host, Bill Barnett and Kevin Mills, as they share their expert insights, strategies, and tips to help you succeed in the world of real estate investing. Get ready to level up your investment game with the Investor Guys Podcast. And now, here are your hosts, Bill Barnett and Kevin Mills.
All right. So we're back then. Or we're here.
So we're here. We're back. Hello. Welcome, everybody, to the Investor Guys Podcast. That handsome young man is Kevin Mills, sitting in the theater in Miami, Florida.
Only by request, because Bill asked for it last time. So,
yep. I just think that's a really cool environment to be in down there. I am in the little home office. So cool to see you in the theater. Welcome, everybody. Glad you're here. Last episode, we talked about some things that are kind of scammy in the real estate investing world. And so we had talked about what's a follow-up to that might make sense. And one of the things that we talked about, Kevin brought up, was there's a lot of credit scam stuff out there. So today we're going to talk about, one, how to build credit in an LLC or a partnership or a C Corp. And then two, we're going to talk about some things to look out for from a credit environment. So Kev, I will let you kick this episode off.
All right. Well, one of the things I've been noticing as far as credit goes is a lot of people, they have funds, but they're afraid to get started because their credit is in the crapper, or they just don't have credit because they never built it. And then I see a lot of people who are asking about resorting to one of those credit building companies where they take a fee to supposedly get you a better credit rating, get you a better credit score, all this stuff. One of the things that's a big alarm for me on those is big fees, for one, and for two, monthly fees. What motivation do they have to get you a better credit score when they keep charging you every single month? So the longer they keep charging you, the more money they make. So if you can't get your credit score up literally within 30 days, you should be able to see it bump up if you're doing the right things. If you can't get a significant bump within 90 days, then you're doing something wrong. Honestly, the best thing to do with your credit is do some research on the internet. Free is great. They have free information on the internet for repairing your credit. Best thing to do is figure out which accounts you need to pay off and which accounts you need to just let go, leave them alone, because once you start bugging them, they're going to actually make your credit score go down. And there are actually accounts that are close to falling off of your credit report, where if you start paying on them, they will make your score go down. Just let them fall off, let them do what they do. The longer an account is on your credit, the less impact it has on your score. So if you've got an account that's been on there for, I'm going to say 4, definitely 5 or more years, leave it alone. Don't bother it. Let it do its thing. Work on building new credit. And that often means having to pay a higher interest rate. So get a credit card with a higher interest rate. It's fine as long as you pay off that credit card. You don't have to have thousands and thousands of dollars worth of charges on that card. Whatever you're going to spend normally on gas for that month, use that credit card to purchase your gas. Use that credit card to purchase your Starbucks coffee and pay it off. In fact, don't wait till the end of the month. Pay it off every week. You can go online and you can pay off that card. Do it every single week. So when you hit the end of the month, it's not a big payment for the entire month. It's a payment for a week. That will show that your card is being paid off. And even if it is a large interest credit card, you're not paying that interest because you aren't carrying balance. So the more credit you can get within reason, that's going to help offset the negative credit that you have. So do that for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and you will see your credit score growing. But the thing you need to watch out for the most is signing up for a company that says they're going to get your credit score back, because none of them can guarantee it. It's illegal to guarantee any credit. It's a federal offense. They're going to charge you monthly for something that you could do yourself. And the sooner you get started, the better, just like everything else. What were your thoughts, Bill?
Well, I agree with that completely. And even cards that when they're paid off, don't close them, leave them alone. You don't have to spend on them. Every now and then, once a quarter or so you do, or they're going to close the account. But that just helps with, if you've got $100,000 worth of credit and you apply for a new card and somebody looks at it and says, well, we're looking at giving them 20 grand additional, then what they're looking at is, well, they got a whole bunch of credit already. And this is, just a small percentage of what they have. I'm going to advise you on being careful about a couple of different things. One, we'll get started on now. We probably have to hit the break before we're done with it. I'm going to tell you, I am personally an enormous, gigantic, huge, big fan of Dave Ramsey. I'm also going to tell you in the same breath, really dangerous for you and I. At the time, I have taught Financial Peace University multiple times. And in going through, becoming certified and teaching, and then also living through that, where at the time it sounded like a really good idea to go in and eliminate all of this credit card debt. And at the time, I had an American Express Black Card. I was running around in my pocket outside of the Black Card with about $300,000 worth of available credit between a few credit cards, and went through Ramsey. And once I started teaching that at our church, I was like, man, I gotta be doing this if I'm going to be teaching this. And this is really good stuff. And I closed up all those accounts, did the whole cutting the credit card thing up in class one night. One of the biggest financial mistakes I've ever made in a business environment. If you're working at a plant and you make a specified amount of money, that program is really, really good. If you have a business or you work on 100% commission, that can be really detrimental to the growth of your business. It was to mine. And so again, I'm a big fan of Dave, love what he does. I don't think it fits our environment. And I know Dave started out in real estate. I always get concerned about any speaker that used to be in real estate. Why in the world would you ever used to be? Those things worry me. Again, big fan, love the guy. We are at break. We're going to come back and I'm going to warn you about a very specific thing that's floating around a lot. And as soon as we come back with more Investor Guys podcast, hang around. We'll see you on the other side.
You are watching the Investor Guys podcast.
The Investor Guys podcast will be back shortly.
Absolution X. Lifestyle apparel like no other. Only at absolutionx.com. Get yours.
Live the resort lifestyle every day with Cayman K. The perfect pieces for every wardrobe. Shop the entire Cayman K collection and find your favorites. Find all our styles at caymank.com.
Awaken your potential and harness the strengths of your inner self. Online courses that you complete at your own pace. Set and achieve all of your goals. Packed with an ever-growing catalog of information, resources, learning programs, weekly recorded coaching sessions, podcast, posts and more to keep you on track. For your best life. Because the only person who can guarantee your success is you. www.reallyKevin.com.
And welcome back to the Investor Guys podcast. Today we are talking about credit. It's credit scams, good things you can do with credit, bad things you can do with credit. As we went to the break in the first segment, Kevin had talked about really building your credit, some incredible things you can do to do that. We're going to talk more about that before the episode's over with.
real quick, you had mentioned Dave Ramsey, and like you, I'm a big fan of Dave Ramsey. But there's a few things that I don't agree with Dave, and one of them you mentioned already, and that's getting rid of your credit cards. Dave wants you to have just like I think it's 3 credit cards, 3 to 5 credit cards, and just for necessity. One credit card, okay.
With an emergency.
I don't agree with that. I mean, I don't think you need a whole wallet full of credit cards you aren't going to use. That's not realistic. The other thing that I disagree with Dave Ramsey is he says pay for everything in full, pay cash. I believe you're going to do better as far as an investor using leverage. Now, Dave doesn't like leverage. I wholeheartedly believe in leverage. Those are the 2 places where Dave and I disagree.
Yep.
I think you need credit. I don't think you need to live on credit. I think that needs to be the distinction. Having credit and living off of your credit are 2 very different things. If you're living off of your credit, you're doing it the wrong way. Having credit and being able to pay off that balance every single month is significant. Right now, my entire credit debt for my next payment, for my next time I have to pay, is about $200, and that's on a credit card that I actually had in my wallet because my wife took the debit card. So I used the credit card instead. $200 is not a big deal. I will probably jump on the computer today or tomorrow and just pay it off and not even wait for the notice to come through on the computer or the bill or whatever it is. Living on credit, wrong. Having credit, awesome, because it gives you the opportunity to get better interest rates. You can get better insurance rates. You can get better everything by having better credit.
Yep. Now, the other side of that, and I have a client I'm dealing with this right now, who has an 810 credit score and is afraid to buy a property because I made a statement that I stand by. I'm going to say it to you guys. If you have a bunch of property and that property either is in your name, which it shouldn't be, but if you have to guarantee an LLC, from a credit standpoint, kind of ends up being the same thing. And when you create a new LLC, until you get a history in that of its own, they're going to look to you to provide the credit. So they're going to look to your Social Security number. So when that happens and you start buying multiple properties, your credit score is going to go down, even though you have you made every payment and you continue to on time every time, which is something you want to live by, on time every time. And yet, as I accumulate more assets, as you get more property, your debt to income ratio gets really weird looking. And so you will have a drop in your credit score. And right now I have a client that has developed a fear of pulling the trigger because she's afraid she's going to hurt her credit score. And, you know, we had a conversation literally a few days ago, which was plain and simple. You have to decide, do I want to make money in real estate or do I want to maintain this incredible credit score that I have? Because I'm not likely going to be able to do both.
Right. And here's the thing about a credit score is it will rebound. My credit score literally bounces between 780 and 800. And I use other corporations and other LLCs to guarantee credit on new corporations and new LLCs because it's a path that I started on years ago. The sooner you get started on that path, the sooner you're going to be able to get to where you're able to do that as well. My credit score, 780 to 810, it doesn't really matter because I really don't do that much on credit. So right now, I don't care. What I care about is the credit scores, my Paydex and my Dun & Bradstreet on my corporations. I do way more with corporations than LLCs. Those are my concerns more now. And I use the ones that have high Paydex and high Dun & Bradstreet scores and Experian commercial and everything else. But I use those to guarantee credit on new corporations. And Bill, one thing to mention while we're talking about credit, but this is also a corporations and LLC issue too. Every time you create a corporation or an LLC, you're creating another entity. It can have its own credit. And it is as simple as throwing a few $100, $500, $700, whatever, to the Secretary of State to open another corporation and then spend your time building that credit for that corporation. Each time you do that, you increase your ability to acquire more assets.
Yep. And, you know, there's a lot of easy ways to build credit inside. a corporation or an LLC, limited partnership, whatever your entity structure is. And I want to say this before I forget it. When we were talking about entities the other day, we didn't really talk about sole proprietorship, which you want to try to stay away from as any way possible. I used to say at events when I would be teaching this that a sole proprietorship is the worst environment that you can get into from a entity structure environment. And my CPA had come out to one of the events years ago, and at the break he said, "Bill, that's not correct." And I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" He goes, "A general partnership is even worse than a sole proprietor, because at least in a sole proprietorship, if you do something stupid, it's your fault. In a general partnership, somebody else can do something stupid and it's your fault." And so I've been cognizant of that ever since. But when you have an entity structure and you're doing flips, you're maintaining property, you're doing rental property, you're developing, easy to get water bill and power bill set up in the corporate name, while you're doing rehabs, while you're getting a property ready to rent. As you do all of that, that's building credit in that entity's name. So a great, easy way to start building credit in a brand new entity.
And when we get back from the other side of this break, I want to tell you a couple of other real easy ways to start right off the bat, literally day one, building your credit scores and getting Paydex and Dun & Bradstreet account numbers right off the bat. We're going to take a break and we'll be back in a minute.
You are watching the Investor Guys podcast.
Live the resort lifestyle every day with Cayman K. The perfect pieces for every wardrobe. Shop the entire Cayman K collection and find your favorites. Find all our styles at CaymanK.com.
Absolution X. Lifestyle apparel like no other. Limited editions. Unique, exclusive designs. Seek your absolution. Get yours. Only at absolutionx.com.
ReallyKevin.com. Weekly recorded coaching sessions. Learn, grow, find resources, opportunities and more. You'll find it all at ReallyKevin.com.
And welcome back to the Investor Guys podcast. Today is all about credit, how to build it, how to keep it, and hopefully not how to destroy it. So we were talking about the last segment wrapped up with some easy ways to be able to start building credit in your entities. And Kevin, you've got some additional ideas on that.
Once you have set up your corporation or your LLC, especially corporations, but when you set up either one, the first thing you need to do is get an EIN. It's an employer identification number. That is like a social security number for your company, for your credit, for your corporation, for your LLC. That's what they're going to use to track you across everything. Once you have that, okay, there are companies like Uline, Quill, lots of office supply companies will do what's called a 30-day net. A 30-day net is a 30-day billing period. So you order something now and you'll get a bill in 30 days where you have to pay it. Now, that's fine because you can order things that you need from Uline does shipping supplies. They've got boxes, envelopes, cardboard, paper,
A lot of cool stuff.
Everything. Yeah. Office supply stuff you need anyway. Ink cartridges, everything from computers, desk chairs to literally everything. You're going to have to pay for those things anyway. Set it up on a 30-day net. Okay. So take the same cash that you would pay on walking into the store to buy it, set up the account online instead, set up a 30 net account with them online or on the phone, whatever it is you have to do. Make that payment in 30 days instead. They will automatically submit that to Paydex, to Dun & Bradstreet, to Experian Commercial, to whoever it is that they report to. Sometimes they report to all of them. That will automatically force or trigger a number. So in order for them to report to Paydex or Dun & Bradstreet or any of those others, they have to set up an account number for you. Not Quill, not Uline, but those reporting agencies. Once they've set that up, you can log in to Dun & Bradstreet. It's Dun and spelled out andbradstreet.com, and find out what your account number is. Dun & Bradstreet. Same thing with Experian Commercial. Same thing with Paydex. Same thing with anything else. Then you have that number for applying for credit elsewhere. Once you've done 30-day net and you've done it, say, for 90 days, that's that kind of the cycle that you need to get started in is 3 months. Okay. Once you've made 3 months worth of payments, and 30-day net is going to be a whole payment every single time, every 30 days. But who doesn't use office supplies on a regular basis where we need to be in and out of Home Depot or Staples or Quill or whatever it is in order to get those things? Once you have that, you will actually see your credit start to grow. The other great way to build credit on a company name is fuel cards. Shell has a corporate credit card. Mobil has a corporate credit card. Lots of the fuel companies, gas companies, have corporate credit cards that have no personal guarantee. You can go in, you can get that card, use it, pay it off, just like I said, every single month, so that you're not paying the interest rate, and you're going to have a payment history, which will quickly build your credit score for your corporation, your LLC.
And, you got to get a Home Depot and a Lowe's card and get a commercial, go to the Pro Desk, get the discount. And every time I say that at an event, I see people shriek in horror, do you know what the interest rate is at Home Depot? Like, I don't care. You care about the interest rate because you're thinking long-term, paying this, and if you're listening to what Kevin and I are telling you, you're paying it off every month and you don't care.
Right.
I don't care if it's 60%. It doesn't matter because it's not triggered until the billing cycle. And if I go online and pay it prior to the billing cycle close, I have no interest.
Yeah, and use logic. If you don't have that Home Depot card, when you go to Home Depot, you're paying cash for it. Okay.
Yep.
So just set that amount of cash by. You can I have literally done this. I've gone to Lowe's. I have bought thousands of dollars worth of things that I needed. And 2 days later, because sometimes it takes a while for it to show up on your account. 2 days later, 3 days later, I will log into the account and I will pay it off because I don't want to forget it. I was going to pay cash for it anyway if I didn't have the card. So the cash is sitting there. Instead of using the cash for something else, pay off that card. Give it 2 or 3 days to show up on the account. Log into your account online, pay it off. This is how you build credit. You're not concerned about your high interest rate for your Lowe's card and your Home Depot card. And by the way, Sam's Club has an easy corporate credit, no personal guarantee also. You're not concerned with that. The reason we're building credit is so that we can purchase properties, so we can purchase real estate. It's these small things that get us to the big things. And that's what you need to keep in mind. The sooner you get started with this, the sooner you will have that credit to tap into. And the more credit you have, the greater limits you will have, which means if you get a larger loan, you're going to get a better interest rate.
Yeah, and so those things make it so much easier to do business. And a fun sidebar with credit is getting an airlines card, so you can get miles. My suggestion would be if you do that, it's kind of the same thing we talk about when we talk about dealing with a title company or real estate attorney. Get one that you're going to throw a lot at so that it adds up quickly. I've had several 100,000 miles before, I don't now, but before, between purchases and sitting my butt on a plane. So those are fun things that you get little goodies with the miles that are, like little free little presents. So think about what you can do to grow your credit for your business. Use it for your business. The reason people freak out about a lot of credit is because they're not using it for their business. They're using it personally. That is a problem. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about how to build availability of credit for your business so that you can go in and literally buy a house. Kevin, we could buy a house in Cleveland on a credit card. Oh, how you do that? Well, nobody's going to sell a house and they don't run the credit card. No, but you get cash advance checks and boom, you can go in. If you were in a position where you needed to make a cash offer on a house right now, great deal. It'd be worth absorbing the fee, going in and doing it, not letting the deal get gone on you. So think about the things that we talked about today with building your credit for your business so that you have the ability to do more deals. And that's everything we're always going to talk about is doing
credit repair scams.
Sir?
Sorry, I said don't get caught up in credit repair scams at all.
Yeah. And we'll have to talk some about credit repair scams on another show. We're going to wrap up today. That is today's Investor Guys podcast. Thanks for being with us. Kev?
Happy investing. Bill, I'll see you later. Have a great day. Happy investing to all of you.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to the Investor Guys podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe and stay updated on the latest trends and insights in the world of real estate investing. Also, don't forget to check us out and see all of our episodes at theinvestorguyspodcast.com. Email us, contact@investorguyspodcast.com. Remember, the key to financial success lies in staying informed and taking action. Stay tuned for our next episode, and until then, happy investing.